Hey everyone, ready to rock. Let's dive deep into the world of CHÜZO. They're this metal band from Montreal, and they are seriously shaking things up.
Yeah, they're not just playing metal. It's like this awesome blend of classic stuff with some seriously unexpected twists.
It's a sound that grabs you and doesn't let go. So we've got their press kit lyrics, an exclusive interview, and a whole history of the band. We're going to give you the ultimate CHÜZO download.
By the time we're done, you'll be able to talk about them with like the biggest metalhead.
Well, this band's had quite a journey. 3 different lineups, like chapters in their story, each one adding something new to their sound.
It's CHÜZO Mark 1, Mark 2, and now the current lineup, Mark 3.
Going through those different formations really shows how dedicated and persistent they are.
Yeah, it hasn't always been easy for them, but they stuck with it.
Yeah.
And they came out stronger.
They've got a pretty diverse lineup. We've got Misha on vocals, Christian on guitars and vocals, Alex on bass, and Carlos on drums.
Nice.
But here's the kicker.
Christian is actually the only one left from the original lineup.
That makes you wonder how his vision has shaped CHÜZO over the years.
Definitely. And here's another thing. Most of them aren't even from Canada originally.
They've brought their international backgrounds to the Montreal scene, which is already so vibrant.
It's almost like being outsiders gives them a unique perspective. They're carving their own path.
Not just trying to fit in. Now let's talk music-crushing riffs that hit you like a sonic freight train. Drums that just pummel your senses. And Misha's vocals are like a banshee unleashed.
There's definitely a nod to classic thrash and death metal bands like Sepultura and At the Gates.
You can hear that raw energy and aggression in CHÜZO's sound for sure. So if you know those bands, you've got a good starting point for what CHÜZO sounds like.
But here's the really cool part. They also bring in stuff from outside metal.
This is where it gets wild. Alongside those heavy hitters, they're inspired by a hardcore punk band called His Hero Is Gone, and wait for it, Quentin Tarantino films.
That mix of influences is what makes them so unique. It's like they took all these different things and made something totally fresh and exciting.
Their latest EP is called M.T.M.D, which stands for Maximum Threshold Minimum Decay.
More than just a cool name, it's a concept that runs through their music.
Yeah, it's a powerful idea, like a statement of resilience, when you're under pressure.
They're acknowledging the struggles, but emphasizing bouncing back and coming out stronger.
Christian actually called it a pedal pun in an interview.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder how their gear reflects that.
Right, and lyrically, the M.T.M.D concept is there too. The EP is about vengeance, social justice, and staying true to yourself when things get tough.
Like in Brand New Cell, Matcha sings, I built a brand new cell.
It's like rebuilding yourself from the inside out, even when everything's falling apart around you.
Such a powerful message about inner strength. They're saying even in the darkest times, you have the power to choose how you react and to rebuild yourself stronger than before.
And that idea of resilience connects to how Christian sees the Montreal metal scene.
He called it vibrant, competitive, a proving ground.
It sounds like a scene that pushes bands to be their absolute best.
Like only the strongest survive.
Totally. It reminds me of those legendary metal scenes like Gothenburg or Tampa, Florida.
Where bands really had to fight for recognition and constantly push their limits.
Exactly. And CHÜZO's right in the middle of it, battling it out and proving themselves.
It's almost like the band's own struggles mirror how competitive the scene is.
With the lineup changes and constantly searching for their sound.
So they're drawing strength from the challenges both inside the band and outside in the scene.
Definitely a synergy there. They feed off the energy, but also contribute to it.
And that leads us to CHÜZO's place in the wider metal world. Their goal is to revitalize a raw, aggressive style.
But they're not just copying the old stuff. They're filtering it through their own lens, their own experiences and diverse influences.
Like torchbearers carrying the flame while forging their own path.
Exactly. And Christian seems convinced this current lineup is the true essence of CHÜZO.
Like they've gone through a transformation and emerged as this powerful force.
Who knows, maybe they'll become as important to Montreal as their heroes were to their cities.
They certainly have the passion, the talent, and the drive to do it.
And they're doing it on their own terms, which is inspiring. But it does make you wonder, how does a band inspired by such intense, sometimes dark themes, channel that into something positive and empowering?
That's a great question. It's like they're taking all that raw energy, all that anger and frustration, and turning it into fuel for their music. Almost alchemical.
Exactly. And I think that's where the minimum decay part of their philosophy comes in. They're not letting the negativity consume them. They're transforming it into something powerful and expressive.
Yeah, like they're using those heavy themes as a springboard to explore resilience and inner strength.
Precisely. And musically, it's amazing how they do it. The driving riffs, the relentless drumming, it creates this feeling of unstoppable momentum, like they're pushing through the darkness with sheer will.
And then you have Misha's vocals. It's like they're capturing the whole range of human emotion, from rage and despair to hope and defiance.
It's such a brilliant contrast. They're not hiding from the darkness, but they're not letting it define them either. There's always that glimmer of light, that sense that they'll overcome whatever's thrown at them.
Which ties back to their M.T.M.D concept perfectly, like they're pushing to their limits, to the maximum threshold.
Yeah.
But always trying to minimize the damage, the decay.
They come out of the fire stronger and more refined.
And that's reflected in their evolution as a band too. Remember, they've had 3 different lineups, each one a step on their journey to finding their true sound.
Right. Each iteration builds on the last, refining their sound and getting closer to their full potential.
And speaking of potential, let's talk about their place in the Montreal metal scene.
Remember Christian describing it as vibrant and competitive?
Yeah, like a proving ground where bands have to constantly push themselves to stand out,
It makes you wonder if that competitive environment has shaped their sound.
made them even more innovative and intense.
It's like they're feeding off the energy of the scene, pushing each other to greater heights.
And it's working. Critics and fans are noticing CHÜZO is getting a reputation for both sonic brutality and emotional depth.
Like they've found this sweet spot between raw aggression and thoughtful introspection. They hit you hard, but there's always something deeper going on.
That's what makes them so compelling. They're not just a band, they're a force of nature.
They're challenging listeners to face their own darkness, embrace their own resilience, and come out stronger on the other side.
If you're ready for the sonic and emotional roller coaster that is CHÜZO, their music's on Bandcamp and YouTube. Just search for CHÜZO Montreal and get ready to be blown away.
And we want to hear from you. What do you think about CHÜZO? Are they carrying the torch for classic metal, or are they forging a totally new path? Let us know in the comments or hit us up on social media. We're dying to hear your take.
Yeah, it really makes you think, huh, it does.
Yes. I think it's really cool that they're doing all of this in Montreal.
Yeah, you don't automatically think heavy metal when you think Montreal.
Right. But CHÜZO is proving that awesome music can come from anywhere.
Exactly. And their sound is so unique. It's like that blend of classic metal with hardcore punk, even those cinematic elements.
It really reflects how diverse Montreal is, like all those different genres and influences colliding.
And CHÜZO is embodying that in their music. It's like they're taking the raw energy of the city.
And just channeling it right into their sound. They're not afraid to experiment either.
Not at all. Pushing boundaries, seeing what happens.
That fearlessness is what makes them so exciting. They're not just following the same old path.
They're forging their own way.
And that's something to admire for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So if you're tired of the same old, and you're looking for a band that's really pushing the boundaries of metal, CHÜZO is it. They're raw, intense, thought-provoking.
Definitely a band to watch.
Absolutely. So we've learned so much about CHÜZO today. Their music, their influences.
That M.T.M.D concept, the Montreal metal scene.
You've done an awesome journey.
It has. And we want to thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of CHÜZO.
If you're ready to experience their music for yourself, check them out on Bandcamp and YouTube. Just search for CHÜZO Montreal.
And before we go, we want to leave you with one final thought.
Okay, hit us with it.
How does a band that draws inspiration from such intense, often dark themes manage to channel that energy into something so positive and empowering?
That's a great question for all of you listening to Ponder. It's something we'll be thinking about too.
So go check out their music, form your own opinions.
Let us know what you think. Hit us up in the comments or on social media. We're always up for a good metal discussion.
Until next time, keep those horns high.
And stay metal.